It is 5:31 and I'm calling to order the March 5th, 2025 Economic Development Commission meeting. We have here in person Commissioners Gene Wilczynski, Joe Kamian, Mona Colwell, and myself, Cheryl Poirier. On Teams, we have Commissioner Jeff Hartman, and we are expecting Commissioner Wendy Russell. Commissioner Scott Smith is in excused absence this evening. So I want to welcome everyone.
Welcome.
The first order of business is public comment. I'm not seeing any members in the audience. I'm also going to note that Jen D'Amato is our clerk this evening because you can see her on the screen. That's the very busy person in our audience. So I don't see any members of the public in person. If there's anyone online who would like to mention anything or bring up public comment, now is your time. Please unmute yourself. If so. All right, hearing no public comment, we will move on to approval of the February 5th meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the February 5th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Okay, Joe, and is there a second?
Second.
Jeff, thank you. Any discussion of the February 5th meeting minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the February 5th meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And any abstaining? The minutes are passed unanimously. Next on the agenda is chairperson's comments, and I have a few things. A little this and that you'll hear. First one is that I want to note that I'm going to ask Jen, we'll do this in the final draft of the minutes. We're going to add the letterhead copy. I'm just going to pause because I think we have someone coming in. Wendy Russell is joining the meeting. Thank you, Wendy.
Sorry. Meeting really.
So I was noting, we're going to add to the minutes for this meeting, the letterhead copy of our letter to the Board of Selectmen and the Halls Road Committee from November. And the reason I would like to do that is because in our November minutes, we talked about how those in attendance voted unanimously to support that statement. We here at the table all know that after further thought, Mona rescinded her support of that statement, which she has a right to do. So the letter reflected that rescinding. And MJ DeRizio, who was not at the meeting, also did not support that statement. So we took care of it in the letter. That's what the Board of Selectmen received, those caveats to that statement, but it never came up in the next meeting. So those folks who are looking at our minutes never saw that change in support in the course of the 30 days between the two meetings. So I want to make a point of that in this meeting, that support changed, and we'll have the letter in this as an attachment to these minutes. Any questions or comments on that? Okay.
Didn't we support? We didn't support the whole project.
The letter was a little nuanced.
Yes.
And we were supporting the concept of an overlay, but these are my words, not the letter's words.
Sure.
We were leaving it to zoning to really understand the
whole thing.
ordinances and the whole thing. So it was
Okay.
The other thing I want to add some clarity to is that in January, MJ DeRizio, a commissioner at that time who chose not to renew her or seek reappointment, MJ has done a fabulous job for us over many, many months, providing real estate updates. in her January update, she reported that the Old Line Marketplace, which is the plaza that includes Big Y, was on the brink of being sold. There was a letter of intent that was supposedly being signed that Friday. There has been no follow-up to that. We don't have any public information on that. I know many members of the public are very interested in having seen that in our minutes. So I am just going to say that we don't have any further information on whether that went through or how.
We know
Any
the
details?
hideaway was sold, right?
That is, yeah, the business of the Caramontes, the hideaway and the Stumble Inn. Yeah, which is, we're gonna get to that. That's a
Okay.
lovely thing for them. Yeah, no worries. But I want to clarify that we have no knowledge of what is happening with 90 Halls Road, the Old Line Marketplace. Having said that, I want to reiterate that many people read our minutes and watch our meetings on YouTube. And so I want to make sure that we're all very aware of anything we're sharing here it is now in the public arena. So we have to really think through what we're sharing and how we're sharing it. And I don't think I need to say more than that, but we can discuss that further if necessary. Okay. We have three little sub bullets there. I'm going to get to all three, but I want to talk about the EDC budget submission next on that little sub bullet. So my expectation, we submitted our budget in November. We had put in a holding place of $13,000 in case after we finalized our 7 priorities, we felt like we wanted some professional help, support. $13,000 is just, excuse me, 8 hours a week, 52 weeks, $25 an hour, I think. So very minimal overall, but it was a holding place until we could really have a good conversation about whether or not we would be voting on and agreeing that we wanted to submit that. Excuse me. So timing is such that last night I had to go before the Board of Finance and support our EDC budget. And I made it very clear that we were unsure if we wanted to submit that 13 and that we were going to be discussing it tonight. And I also made it very clear that we are very respectful of the taxpayers in this town and of the challenges before the Board of Finance this year. So they gave me a choice. We could either not ask for that additional 13,000, just ask for our usual 4,000, oops, slow down, $4,136. Because we're asking, everything else we're asking for is exactly as we have in the past. So I could just ask for that. And if we decided to go back for an appropriation, or I could put in for the 13,000 last night, which I didn't want to do. We took the temperature of the Board of Finance and they really felt like they would not be approving that this year. So they took their vote last night. We're getting our $4,136. And but they know we may in a future year feel like we need professional help to build capacity of what we can do. So this wasn't about replacing volunteers and what they're doing. This is about building our capacity to support the town and its businesses. Is that clear? Because I kind of
Yeah, no,
It's
pretty
clear.
pretty
It's clear.
clear.
Pretty darn clear.
Okay, good. All right. And then that third sub bullet under chairperson's comments is that officers, typically this would be the month where I was hoping to say I'm going to step down as chair. I think right now I'm willing to help chair this commission until we have new commissioners in place. We have 2 empty appointments, as you know, And as we kind of finalize these 7 priorities. My understanding is that Jeff is willing to be a co-chair. And I would be happy to nominate him for that. And I also want to open up the conversation to see if anyone else is interested in playing a role as a co-chair or chair. All right. Am I allowed to make a motion?
I don't know.
I think Robert rules no.
Okay,
So I would happily move that I would happily nominate Jeff to be co-chair of the commission.
all right. That came from Jean.
I'll second.
Wendy is seconding. Any comments? Jeff, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, I'd be more than happy to work with the group as co-chair. I don't really think it changes anything with having you there. So I just view it as more of how we're working as a group together. And obviously I'll abstain from the vote.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hope we have a forum. A
Oh.
quorum. Quorum.
We're only missing one commissioner,
Okay.
so we
Yeah,
should.
okay, so we're good.
Right, because it's based on the number that we have.
Yeah. Well, he can also abstain, so that's a vote, right?
Yeah, but so out of 7, there's 5 of us
Yeah,
and him. So
Yeah.
there's total of 6. So I think 5 out of 7 is a quorum.
okay. All right, any other comments? I also want to say, I am still very interested in not being chair and just focusing on some of our marketing efforts. So I'm hoping that can happen in the coming months. All right,
Oh, so you're gonna stay, but not.
as a
chair.
co-chair with Jeff, and then
Oh,
and
okay.
then I'm gonna remain on the EDC, but step down as a chair.
Okay.
Not run the meetings or do
Mhm.
minutes and interact with, phone calls and stuff like that.
And then will we appoint another co-chair at that time?
I hope so. Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping we can keep thinking about how to put that into place. All right, all in favor of Jeff Hartman being co-chair on the EDC, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining?
One
Jeff is
abstention.
abstaining. All right. Thank you, Jeff, for stepping forward.
But you're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Next up is high school to career considerations.
Yes, I tried to get I thought there was a specific counselor in the role of doing school to career. There's actually more than one guidance counselor, and one of them does it as part of their other duties. But I have a meeting set up for on Monday. I will meet with the school, the counselor that is now handling school to career, and investigate exactly what is going on with that as part of the initiative that I'm interested in to try to retain talent in our town rather than have them all leave. Because I think economically, we could do much better if we keep our smart young people in town. So Monday I will meet and I will report back at the next time we meet.
Very good. Any questions?
No, thank you, Joe.
Yep, thank you. And so we'll put you on the agenda for next month.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, the strategic planning process. I'm handing out, Jeff, you have an electronic copy of this, the 7 priorities
Yes.
that we've whittled down. And I don't know how anyone else feels. I'm pretty happy about this. Might have to share with someone. Okay, I've got it actually.
I think I printed it, so
Thank you.
if you need a copy, I have one.
So this is where we landed after our February meeting. We crossed off that last one. We expected the zoning ruling on the overlay district to have happened by our meeting tonight, but we all know it hasn't. So I'd like to get everyone's thoughts on what else needs to happen, and if we are able to finalize this or vote on it. And I would consider it a living document to some extent, but I would like to hear folks' thoughts on this.
So I had one thought on the top of the second page, third down. It says work with Falls Road Improvement Committee to improve the vitality of the commercial district. So are you talking about the Falls Road Commercial District? Or are you talking about,
The Halls Road Commercial
That's-
District.
that's what you're talking about in that one?
Yeah, I mean, it includes, as you know, Davis Road, but that it's primarily Halls Road.
Okay.
I can put the word Halls Road in there.
So if that were the case there, then should we? I mean, I guess you do. You talk about Soundview Commission, Historic District and other areas, just to make sure that there's nobody that we're leaving out.
Good point. Yeah.
I didn't, peruse through to make sure. I mean, I think you probably are covering all the people who are covering things now, but like Shoreline Gateway and Soundview Commission's on here and Historic District and
I can put land use so that covers planning and zoning.
land use is under the first bullet point under.
Oh, okay.
Development activities.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question too, because I did notice in some of the correspondence that was posted online with the Halls overlay, it said that there were 4 groups in town that input into the planning of the POCD. So, and I wondered if economic development was one of them. Do we contribute to that, to the POCD?
We do. They ask for our input, and I know for the POCD is every 10 years. So when it happened in 2021, we included the Van CT, those 9 or 11 bullet points, create destination, I think experiential restaurants and things like that. I think it's more than
And the
4.
EDC is mentioned in the POCD.
Right. We have,
Their doc.
Yeah,
and we have actions we need to complete.
right.
So EDC is definitely part of that POCD process. And Jean, you had attended a meeting last year where they were looking for folks or commissions and committees to report back to planning on how we're doing on the progress of our actions that are in the POCD. I think I'm going to do that this Saturday because those commission chairs are all meeting again this year on Saturday. But Mona, to try to answer your question, I think there's a lot of different ones that, Harbor Management Commission puts into it, and zoning, and I'm trying to think of what else. Parks and Rec is probably in.
Probably inland wetlands.
Inland wetlands for sure. Yeah.
I have 2 comments, if it's okay.
Okay.
So, it looks like the Halls Road thing will be voted on April 9th from what I'm hearing. I don't know if I looked at their website, there isn't anything on. So we still have this open revisit following the zoning commission. So I would assume it probably should still stay in draft form until that vote occurs. That's my reaction. I don't know what's the rest of the group think.
I'm trying to see how to turn up the volume here.
Oh, I'll speak
Um,
louder. I'll speak
No,
louder.
I think it's just a volume, it's a volume issue here.
Okay.
Oh. Maybe that
So-
works.
So,
So
yeah,
did everyone hear, Jeff?
Yes. no.
Yeah. So what do folks think about, should we keep this in draft form until zoning makes a decision on the overlay concept?
Well, and also too, does zoning, the project that zoning's doing, does that affect us at all? The project that they're doing with the rezoning or whatever, looking at their rules, like what if they open up some commercial stuff that isn't currently commercial? I mean, I don't know what they're doing.
I think it's actually going to be the flip. I think they're looking for the EDC and others to let them know what's important to us, which is why these priorities are really.
And
Yeah.
one of the priorities was to have a liaison with
yeah.
zoning to be.
Number
all
4, to your
different
point, Gene, yeah, number 4 is that, yep.
So who's gonna be the liaison with zoning?
That's to be decided. If you- Like,
Then I have a follow-up to my
Okay,
point, keep it in draft. So I think I recall from our last discussion, we were gonna potentially consider having some open session where we let the community come in and we run through this with the community to kind of socialize this with the community. I thought we had a conversation about that, and maybe we were gonna do that in the May timeframe. So it's just not published. We have some community input. Did I misremember that, or do we?
Well, I don't know if it was community input. I mean, I think the one thing that we were talking about was the event that Cheryl had put on before, where she brought in other commissions to
Yeah,
talk about how we could all work together.
yeah, the Board of Selectmen do that now, and it's actually this Saturday for all the commissioners. I think, Jeff, we talked about sharing this with the community and the concern that we've spent, almost a year on this process.
mhm,
And I think we want to look for community feedback, but also not start from scratch again.
right. So I guess since the the groups get together this Saturday, is that a venue where you could socialize this with your peers from town?
Yeah. In fact, if this were final, I was going to bring copies of it for the other commission chairs to see. If
Hmm.
people want me to bring the draft, I can do that.
I think it'd be fine to share the draft. It's just being transparent.
Yeah, I mean, why wait?
Okay.
Especially if you're gonna be seeing people from some of these other areas, why wait until after the fact for them to give input when they could have important information that perhaps could go into the planning of this?
Sure. Okay. I will do that.
And then so if you roll forward, really kind of as a group targeting to finalize this in May at our May meeting, because we'll have the decision on the zoning for Halls Road. You'll probably have received feedback from your meeting on Saturday. And then we could target to really try to wrap this thing up in May.
Okay, that sounds good because the April zoning meeting comes after our meeting, I'm
Mhm,
assuming, or the first Wednesday of the month.
mhm.
Did they announce the date? I know they said they had to reserve the high school auditorium.
Yeah,
Because
April 9th.
The crowd was going to be too big for the middle school,
Yeah, so
right?
it's April 9th.
Yeah,
right.
and that's after our meeting.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that for sure. The other thing I had on my list for tonight is, it's been 5 years, probably more than 5 years now since the Advanced CT survey of the community. And we do have the Survey Monkey. I want to check with the other commissions to see who, if anyone, is doing surveys this year. And we could piggyback on another survey, or internally, we can recreate that survey that Advanced CT did, fine tune some of the questions, because I think in hindsight, there were some questions that didn't really elicit clear answers. They were a little nebulous, the way they were phrased, so we could improve that. But it would be nice to do a whole community survey for sure and see what people are thinking about economic development. And then with that in mind, also remembering that zoning is going to survey the community sometime in the next year or so, about, understanding people's concerns or wishes, for zoning as well. So maybe it's combined, maybe it's making sure that the zoning survey includes some questions that we're interested in, getting updates on. That survey was pre-pandemic. The world has changed quite a bit. So, so that
Yeah,
would be one way. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, I think that would be good to give, if zoning is doing the survey, maybe a couple questions and ask them to consider putting it in their survey.
Okay. And then having, inviting the public, maybe we can figure out a way to do that. I think one of the biggest troubles in society in general today is there's no easy way to reach everyone, right? So some people watch social media for their news, and some people are not online at all, and some people are getting the day in their news box. It's very hard to reach everyone. And so maybe we can come up with a strategy where we can get our priorities out to the public and elicit, people can always come for public comment, but maybe have a couple of hours of an open house on a Saturday morning or something where people can stop by and talk to us, especially the business owners. I think that could be really valuable.
Yes. Speaking to customers is always a good thing.
Absolutely. All right. So any other comments or anything? So we'll try to wrap this up in May. All
Yeah.
right.
I think that I think, Mona, your point you made originally, why don't we try to do it ourselves? I thought that was a good point. I think, it's a pretty good document.
It is. And I have to say, once, I last looked at it early February, and picking it up yesterday to look at it again, I had to say, this is a pretty good document. So a long process, but well worth it. So thank you, everyone. Okay, updates. Online business updates, just very briefly. Mr. Comstock's public hearing in front of zoning is this coming Monday for Hydrangeas Galore's outpost on Halls Road. Wendy, you mentioned that the Caramontes are retiring and have sold the Hideaway and Stumble Inn, I think, to their chef. Am I correct in saying that? So I just would love it reflected in the minutes that we congratulate the Caramontes. They were our first ribbon cutting that we did.
Oh, the Stumble In, yeah.
Yeah. So, and they've just been a mainstay, and just wish them all the best. And then I can't remember if this was mentioned in a past meeting, but the chocolate shell, the business is up for sale, and that is just because the young entrepreneur who owns it has a new direction in her life that she's going, and so she's waiting for the right owner potential owner to come along and keep the chocolate shell going.
And one more, the aquarium changed ownership.
I saw the name change yesterday to just the
It's a
aquarium.
new owner too. So
Okay.
we should probably reach out and maybe do a ribbon cutting with them, even though
Do you go?
I don't, but I
You just
can.
noticed it?
Yeah,
Would you like to go in there and
I
just
can stop by.
introduce all that?
and see if the new person would be interested.
Sure.
Even- I mean, would we do a ribbon cutting for new ownership?
We have in the past. I can't think off the top
Oh,
of my,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
for Hallmark.
Yeah, exactly. We have done that.
So one other sort of new business, the Chamber of Commerce is doing a ribbon opening at the new Paragon Salon and Spa, which is in by the Hideaway. So the owner has salons and spas in Norwich and I want to say Thomasville, somewhere up in that direction. And she bought the one in the Hideaway Plaza, maybe back November, December.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we met her. I remember meeting her. I think it's
Yeah.
Thompson that has her third.
Yeah. So anyway, they're doing a ribbon cutting on Friday, March 21st at 10 o'clock in the morning.
21st. Okay, great. And thanks to the chamber for doing that. All right. Any other business? And the ice cream shop now it's been on the prior ice cream shop has been on the market for a while, but it's now with a realtor. So we'll have to see how that goes. Okay. Just quickly on marketing efforts, the Arts District, thank you to all those who voted. Old Lyme came in second in a national poll by USA Today as best small town art scene. There's actually been a lot of press about that. It made it to the Boston Globe and various other places. So thank you for that. And our website, you can see the bump in action once it was announced. Like we've had about 400 new unique visitors to our website, which in the last week. So that's pretty good for March. And I don't know if the state has really, I don't know if we can capitalize on that with the state, but for the tourism district, we'll have to say, maybe we'll put it on our ctvisit.com page or something. All right, Eastern Regional Tourism District, when?
So I wasn't able to get home before I came here to get my folder, but I attended the tourism conference for Connecticut, for Eastern Connecticut, actually. That was 2 weeks ago, last week, I think. So it was very interesting. Connecticut is trying to take tourism dollars away. I don't know if you have heard. So
And
everybody's
it's just
trying
for
to.
everyone, that's the state budget you're talking
State
about.
budget.
Yep.
The state budget is in jeopardy. So they're asking everybody that has any hand in tourism to reach out to your state reps, et cetera. Anybody that you can to voice an opinion. Because I don't know if you remember back in the day, they gave us $1.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do that, we're going to just go backwards because right now we're the #1 New England state, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
I had all kinds of good data and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But yeah, so that's very important to keep tourism rolling. They were looking for things to do in the spring to put on the website. I sent them, I looked it up just because out of time. And I sent them Florence Griswold and then the Art Museum and then the Jazz Club had some interesting things going on. So I sent that. So that'll be in their newsletter and published on the websites, et cetera, et cetera. So if there is anything else that anybody thinks of that is to do in spring, let me know. Other than that, I don't know if
Well, first of all, would you like to bring your data next month?
Yeah, I'll do
That would be great because it's
yeah,
really
it's very
interesting. Yeah.
because there's a lot of metrics,
Yeah.
as to, like you said, how many visitors and et cetera, and the improvement that the state has had year over year. It's quite impressive and it would be so bad to have it go backwards at this point.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
Because whether everybody realizes it or not, tourism supports all of us. People have to eat, people have to sleep, whatever,
Absolutely.
and they visit all of these places. So as much as people don't want tourism, they should want it for their businesses.
Yes.
I mean, it's a lot that keeps people alive. So, but yeah, that's all I have.
So, this is at spring, but it's Memorial Day on.
Mhm.
The carousel is celebrating the carousel itself is 100 years old.
Okay, so that'll be in the next
So maybe let's you and I
Okay,
make sure we
Mhm.
talk and get that into their summer. I
absolutely.
need to
Yeah, that
reach
would be
out
great
to the family
information.
that owns.
And
it.
they'll come and take photos as well, if it's something, you
Okay,
know. Yeah. we
yeah,
should do
that would be nice.
No, that would be a great draw and let people know. And there's people that follow carousels, and there's the Carousel Museum and all that. so,
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Connecticut. Yeah. So, yeah, do that. But if anybody has any information on anything going on, let me know.
Are they
I'll
planning any
report it.
new trails like the?
Oh, so that's another thing. So, thank you. The pizza trail is being revamped because, as we know, pizza places come and go, but we're now Connecticut is the #1 pizza capital of the United States.
Doesn't surprise me.
So, I was going to add Sapore to the pizza trail because we're redoing all of the brochures. Unfortunately, the ice cream trail, we'll have to remove.
Oh,
Old
because they're
Line
still
Ice
on there.
Cream.
You're right, you're right. And then
So-
if, I don't know how the pizza trail is set up, but Teddy's is Greek pizza, Sapore's is
Yes,
Italian
thank you.
pizza. Yeah.
And supposedly the new Hideaway is gonna have,
Oh, a
Pizza
pizza oven,
oven.
correct. You're right.
So
So,
they might have a certain style.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm not a big pizza eater. I would love to be a pizza eater, but I don't.
Yeah. But on the ice cream
So,
trail, I think Hallmarks had ended up on the ice cream trail.
They
as well. Okay. Yeah.
But I'll make sure.
Yeah.
I'll sure that they are, because I think that's the only ice cream left.
And
there
then
anything down by
on
the shore?
Harvard, Carousel has ice cream. They don't make their own ice cream, so I don't know what the parameters are. And then, the Cheetos Italian ice.
And Hallmark.
Yeah, and we were
No,
talking
we
about
have
Hallmark, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll look into that.
Do they
just-
have to make their own?
I don't know the criteria,
Yeah.
but I'll find out.
If you go on exploreonline.com/dine, you'll see everyone there. So you
Yeah.
can pick and choose what you need to,
Okay.
put
Oh, yeah.
in.
Okay, I'll do that.
Pizza trail.
What, were you gonna say something, Mona? Oh, okay.
No, sorry. I
that's-
missed it.
That gave us a big bump in statistics for Connecticut, people coming and visiting that pizza trail. And once we were named that, it was like a huge,
That's amazing.
yeah.
I know people make pilgrimages to
Yeah.
New Haven, to Worcester Street for the
Yeah.
pizza, so.
So, yeah, so we're redoing a bunch of those brochures. So, I think that was it.
All right.
I have senior memory.
Well, you're gonna bring us metrics next month, so
You
that's
don't.
exciting.
I do. Oh, I was sitting here driving going, oh, why didn't I bring it with me? Why didn't I bring it with me?
That's okay. We're glad you're here.
yes, exactly.
These long work days. Okay, Jean, Rivercog.
So our February meeting, there was a presentation by the marine industry, and the person who presented was the chair of the Connecticut Marine Trades Association. One of the interesting things is in the region, which is mostly Middlesex County, because that's what people do in the river. A lot of it is.
Oh, right,
But
those towns.
They were saying it makes up like 2/3 of the tourism is associated with the marine industry, which I mean, you think of boating along the river, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot, even in towns like Essex, even up to Middletown, I would think. So there's a lot of
2/3 the,
tourism and recreation industry
okay,
is made up of marine. So, and I don't know what exactly.
Well, I
that
think Black
entails.
Hall might fall into that too.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
And, and
So,
there's a.
Yeah,
There's a
boat slip.
variety of marinas, you know,
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
more marinas probably than any of us realize.
Oh, there's,
yeah, we have
oh, we
four.
have a lot, the whole connect.
And then they also was a presentation, they're in the beginning stages of developing a methodology for a regional housing needs assessment that's probably a few years out, but just sort of talking about what goes into that. We didn't get a copy of the presentation, but if I do, I'll share it.
Okay,
And this next week is our next meeting, and the person presenting is from Connecticut Main Street Center,
yeah,
which they're going to talk about the possibility of us joining and then having access to the resources, which I don't even know what that means, but so all the towns would have access in the River Cog.
Oh, that would be
So
amazing.
that's the presentation next Tuesday.
Okay, that would be very amazing. CT Main Street puts on a lot of good webinars, and they also consult with towns to talk about keeping main streets per se, keeping their vitality, and that's exciting to hear there's a way to be a part of that.
So we're going to hear about it
Okay.
at least. So, and I'll just add quickly from the Greater Old Saybrook Chamber, I went to the Old Lyme meeting of that group last Friday. And one of the things that the chamber folks talked about was their scholarships, the Old Saybrook Scholarship and the Old Lyme Scholarship. And she highlighted that. I think I sent you the link to it. So they are still, that the intent of continuing that scholarship as part of the Greater Old Saybrook Chamber is still there. So it's good to know that that's continuing and being talked about.
Yeah, and I'm hoping they are talking to the high school in getting the word out about that.
Think so.
I think the first year it was a little confused. So hopefully that all got worked out and they know how to reach out to the students and make sure they apply for that scholarship. Excellent. Anything else in the chamber? Because I should just include that as part of your update.
Yeah,
Do we, I don't get like, anything from do we have to sign up or something personally?
probably.
Or just, or can we?
Yeah, get on the mailing list.
Yes,
They
that's what
send
I-
things
I-
out every day.
No, I know. I used to be on it years ago.
Yeah,
but
I get a
haven't been
lot.
on
I
it.
get a lot from them.
Yeah. I just don't know when the meetings are or the mixers and all that.
Oh, yeah,
so,
you can definitely
I mean,
sign up
just be
for
good
it.
to know, you
And
know.
yeah, I think, well, you would be a member as
Right.
EDC.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I never did that, so I'll do that.
okay.
Their Chili Fest was very successful on Saturday that they
Mm-hmm.
had for members. It was packed in Old Saybrook.
Yeah, and
That's very
that's a great fundraiser for them.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the main fundraiser for their scholarships.
Okay. All right. Also, Mona, I know that you have been working on the tax revenue.
Mhm.
And I've just been putting that under other business, and I wanted to ask you, do you want that as a regular update? As we do these other updates, or do you want to keep it as a business item?
Well,
Or if
It
you even
was-
have something this month, I don't know.
I don't have anything new this month.
Okay.
The numbers that I brought last time were from 2022. And if anybody didn't get a copy, I have more copies here. And the reason was because at the time when I started the project, everything was pretty much 2022, but I saw for the last meeting or whenever I gave that information to you guys, they were starting to update it with 2023.
Okay.
So, I mean, really, it's just a yearly thing
Okay.
as the data is available,
Okay,
but it's not gonna be in every,
okay.
unless you see a reason for it.
No, I don't. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to report it as frequently as you felt like you needed to.
Okay, I can take a look before the next meeting and see if everything's been updated to 2023.
Okay, and Melinda might be able to help you with that in the assessor's office. Okay. Okay, Shoreline Gateway.
Okay. Our last meeting, which was February 13th, was pretty much focused on blight. The committee put together a list of blighted properties on the Soundview Gateway area, Shoreline Gateway area, I should say, which including Soundview. And we went through and actually tried our best to survey. We divvied it up and surveyed properties. And so there's sort of about 7. I think we came down to like 16 that you could say are slightly blighted. And they were, of that, maybe a little less than half were severely blighted.
Joe, can I just, are those commercial properties only or commercial and residential?
For the most part, commercial,
Okay,
but some of them are mixed,
okay.
commercial with residential mixed into it.
Oh, like an apartment upstairs kind of thing.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So ultimately, I volunteered myself to, I've been trying to do this for a while, so I've actually put together, after looking at multiple town ordinances and then also towns who have blight ordinances and all that have been successful. And also, there's a guidebook published by Connecticut Council of Municipalities, I think it was, or something to that effect. So I looked at that and I've drafted a blight ordinance that I think would be practical as a draft that I'm going to bring before the SGC. And where it goes from there is up to the committee. I'm thinking it should go to the Board of Selectmen or to zoning, I would think. As part of that, I also rewrote a lighting ordinance because in the zoning ordinances, lighting occurs with great conflict in multiple places. And some of it is grossly out of date, where it's suggesting, for example, low pressure sodium light as being, this has been obsolete now for probably 15 or 20 years. So I'm going to bring those two instruments as drafts to SGC to look at and decide if, what changes, and ideally it'll find its way to the Board of Select Persons. Okay. And that's pretty much it for what transacted. Oh, one more thing. A building, I guess this is public information, but I believe it was 47 Hartford Avenue, I think, but in Soundview, so there was a building undergoing renovation where the building was completely open to hazard of entry and potential for harm to happen. So it actually ended up with an enforcement action from the town. So this issue of blight is becoming very appropriate, I'll say, to happen, especially for the Gateway area and Soundview.
So that building, it's currently under renovation, but was unsafe?
Yes, it was under renovation and had, windows, doors missing, nothing boarded up, and no attention to it for some duration.
Okay.
So, the concern, I think the fire marshal got involved because it's concern also that it could potentially lead to an arson.
Sure.
So this is not something to be taken lightly.
Shows the importance of that update you all are seeking.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Halls Road Improvement Committee, our liaison is Jeff.
Yes, I think we know that we discussed previously that the meeting has been postponed, I believe, to the 9th. From an update perspective, there's been a lot of back and forth, frequently asked questions, responses. I would just say to go to the Halls Road Improvement Committee website and kind of read through that. There's numerous responses on the website. So I would just encourage everybody to look at that.
Okay. I will just add to that. If people feel compelled to stand up at the public hearing, there's absolutely no reason why you cannot do that. But as a commissioner, you need to be sure you say that I'm here as a private resident. And that's the same thing if you're, and there's not a formal social media policy. The lawyers have been looking at that for a while. They're trying to get one passed, but I know what they wish people to do is if you're commenting on something related to the town, that you, in your comment, say, I'm speaking as a private citizen. So it gets a little cumbersome, which is why I kind of stay out of it all online. But you have to make sure people understand you're not speaking on behalf of whatever you sit on, whatever board or commission you sit on. Unless you intend to be speaking as that. Okay, any other questions on that, on Halls Road? Okay, new and other business. I don't think I have any myself. Does anyone have new or other business?
No.
All right. Well, one of our simpler meetings. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We've got Mona and then Wendy, Jennifer. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Great.
Aye. Thank you all.
Yep.
Have a
All
good
right,
evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.